All right, welcome. Welcome to Josh and Dimitri. We haven't yet come up with a show title. Maybe we'll do it during this episode. Who knows? But hey, we're here to talk about advanced security, kind of the stuff we've been doing within the last year, and thought, hey, we'll start this thing with like a podcast because that's what you do in 2021 is you hop on trends that have been established for years. Okay, so why don't we just this is indicative of how things are going to go, everybody. All right, so why don't we just start introducing ourselves to people that don't know us here. Dimitri, why don't you kick it off?
Sure.
Why don't you tell us?
So I'm Dimitri, one of the trainers at Advanced Security. So I've been doing trainings since long enough where I don't remember how long I've been doing trainings. But it was a big thing. I mean, I would say I was primarily doing trainings the last couple of years, and then COVID hit. So I like to summarize it and say that I used to have gold cards on Star Alliance, One World, and Sky Team. But I don't have. I mean, they automatically got prolonged as frequent flyers will know. But basically, I'm not flying anymore. Is the big thing. I do hardware and a lot of the FPGA classes, so everything related to Verilog, etc. That's kind of the stuff that I focus on.
Nice, yeah. And I'm Josh. Clearly, there's a time zone difference here, so I'm still waking up. And so I last 7 years or so had a company called Cryptotronics where I still do embedded security, kind of consulting, contracting. The training thing was really, I did some kind of things before, kind of was helping some people do some training thing here and there. But it really kind of started with, and this all my thing's been pretty epic. We can get into it because it's like, I mean, I have kids. I was in the Navy for 10 years. I don't really want to be away from my kids. So like this whole traveling thing, like you were talking about, it's like, I mean, once you start having kids, it's like, you're like, man, the whole traveling away from thing kind of was a drag. So I mean, this is pretty epic that we can do this online.
That's a good point. I mean, I missed. I've been married for 5 years, and I missed every one of my wife's birthdays except this last one. Finally, thanks COVID.
Yeah, I mean it's a thing. Like you go out. I mean, so there's lots of submarine stories we're gonna hear on this podcast. So but yeah, I mean, like, you know, people miss their kids, you know, births and stuff like that, and it's like you do enough of that in the military. I didn't really want to do it for training, but yeah. So then did some security stuff. Now doing training stuff.
Yeah, perfect.
How's that for summary? Yeah.
It's a good summary, I feel. No, but I guess one of the things that we can kind of talk to people or let people know is kind of how it all started with the web stuff. I mean, without going into the detail of maybe who the client was, but let's just say that we were kind of caught in a pickle where we could not fly to a part of the U.S. that was the COVID hotspot at the moment. And so we doubled down on moving everything online. I guess one of the things is, which we'll talk more about as well, is we actually built an entirely streaming backend. So people come to us and ask us all the time. I mean, so fellow trainers, people that we know from conferences, they ask us, you know, what kind of solution do we use? And we rolled something completely custom. So, I mean, we built all the components. So without, you know, patting ourselves on the back too much, think of it like a stream or a YouTube competitor, but obviously we're using it for us. So I mean, we can also talk about, I mean, one of the things worth mentioning is just compared to some of the other technical solutions out there. I mean, if you start, like it was early last year, early second quarter, we were testing out all these solutions, and long story was none of them were perfect for what we were doing. I mean, my favorite example is if you use Google Meets or something like that, and you try to do screen sharing, and you actually, I mean, you can dig in the browser and actually see what the configuration is. So usually it's recording your screen with something like 1 FPS. And so, I mean, we do trainings that do stuff that are where you're either brute forcing something or something like that, and so you're constantly outputting to the screen, and look at the recording of something recorded at 1 FPS. I mean, it's like watching a slideshow.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. The pad itself on the back was, it was definitely out of necessity. It was like, because we tried all these different ones, and it was just like, it was just impossible. And then you combine it with the fact that, if you're using whatever thing, they got to log in, and you try to do it over Zoom, and then students are trying to log in. That was just horrible. It was really kind of out of necessity. And then the fact that we're showing hardware. I mean, the question I think we get a lot is, how do you show hardware on these kind of things? This is work from home life. You try to tell them, sponsored by Josh's kids. Josh's kids will always come in.
I'm also getting a soundproof door soon. Everything's soundproof in this room except the door. That's the only thing that's missing.
Yeah. Yes, this is, so this has been, but I mean, this is like one of the reasons we did it, right? It's like everyone's at home, they're with their kids.
Exactly.
They need the ability to pause it. I mean, this is,
you're right. And then it happens for everyone who's actually, who's watching it as well. I mean, they get distracted, the Amazon guy, food delivery, etc. I mean, what have you, people get distracted. I mean, just the statistic of almost all our trainings, I mean, I would say over 50 to 70%, pause the stream, etc. So there's a lot of advantages from the way that we do it. The fact that you can pause. I mean, so speaking of which, like in terms of testing other solutions, pausing is not a free ride. I mean, that's like another example where you can just get rid of a bunch of the solutions because they don't let you just pause the stream midstream. You can't change horses midstream. You can't pause it either. I mean, that's like one of the key features that we built out. I mean, we optimize all the codecs for the recording. Some of the other stuff that we do, I mean, so we do professional video editing. Some segments will actually pre-record and professionally edit ahead of time. We also do editing of the videos after we're done recording. So kind of the end result is also better. But I mean, we have a nice blog post summarizing on our website that we'll make sure to link, that kind of mentions a lot of the advantages, a lot of the features that we kind of focused on when we were building this out. But I mean, turns out there's not like a turnkey solution out there for doing everything at a high level. And I mean, I guess another major thing to say is if you and I were to bet, I mean, we would have never believed that it would be, February 2021 and everything would still be exactly the same as when we were starting this time last year.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's not just our industry too. I mean, like my wife's in healthcare, and they have to do CME, continuing medical education, and they have to do conferences. And I watch over her shoulder about like what they're using, and it's painful. I mean, it's she'd miss something because she's in clinic, and then I was like, oh, you could just probably watch it later that day. Nope. Like, oh, we'll have recordings 2 weeks later. Like, that's not going to help her when she's like in the clinic and forgetting. I mean, so all this. I mean, there's a lot of industries that are trying to go online, and I mean, a lot of the stuff I think we try to do is really optimize. I mean, we have like the recordings. I mean, it's pretty epic that I've had students where they're like, I can't make this, I got to go to work. They come back and they're watching the recording like later day, and that's just stuff that giant other industries like haven't been bothered to implement yet.
No, exactly. And I've been actually doing polls in the last couple of classes that I taught, and it's about 70 to 80% of people, if they have access to the recording immediately that evening, 70 to 80% of people in my classes have been going back and watching it just as a way to like summarize what they did that day, which is also pretty epic, and not something that, I mean, like if we're to compare this to in-person classes where the advantages and disadvantages are, I mean, like the classic format, I mean, like take notes or whatever. And then, I mean, I would always like, I would go to dinner and sit there with, I mean, that was like one of the things how I noticed and why I did this poll in the first place was it used to be I would go to dinner and then I would get 10 more emails asking questions about stuff that we did that day. Like people trying to get the assignment up and running, like, Dimitri, I'm stuck here. Can you help me out, etc. And yeah, I mean, now we don't get those questions anymore. So I did the poll and turns out people are just rewatching it and just watching it until they get it up and running, which is, I mean, not surprising. If you have that feature, then people will use it. So that's a pretty epic one.
Yeah, and then combined with the fact that you have like all the multiple cams capturing everything, it's like, I mean, you could take, I mean, in-person classes you can take notes or whatever, and then there's handouts or whatever, but then it's like, well, where did this thing get wired? How did this happen? How did I get this? And then it's like, oh, I mean, with all the multiple cam setups, it's like, oh, I just watched that part again. I mean, so that I mean, yeah, there's lots of nice. I mean, there's advantages for us too, right? I mean, it's like, I mean, we get this kind of like I think the example you bring up a lot is the showing the oscilloscope. I mean, we both have HDMI scopes, and then it's like, even if you had that in person, trying to get everyone to huddle over a desk. Yeah, like, exactly. Guys, look at this. I mean, that would be painful too, right?
No, I mean, I've taught it whether I'm teaching it at companies. I mean, even for travel, right? I mean, I wouldn't bring that much equipment. I mean, last couple of times I taught a class in the US, I just buy a scope and give it away to the person who finished the assignment first. Because I mean, like, I don't want to cross borders with this gigantic RF thing that might need to be declared somewhere. So I would buy the cheapest one, but now it's different. I mean, now we have our the equipment that we use for pen tests, etc. I mean, for the audits that we still do. I mean, we have all the professional equipment that we would normally use, whether that's our microscopes, oscilloscopes, what have you. We have that all integrated. We can switch between them. We can record directly from the professional equipment, etc. So that's definitely one of the things.
Yeah, I'm just laughing because tried to get from our friend and colleague Colin O'Flynn. I tried to order a chip whisperer from him in Canada. This is before he shipped stuff on Mauser. And when I crossed the border, I had to explain to customs what it was that I was getting this oscilloscope. And then I tried to. It was a funny conversation with customs. What this chip whisperer thing was.
I mean, so speaking of that, just because I think that's a perfect segue. I mean, one of the classes that we're putting up online this year is going to be the intro to lab equipment. So basically, how to, I think the title, the final title's probably going to be how to set up a home hardware hacking lab, and we're going to go into the various types of equipment that you can buy, whether that's oscilloscopes, multimeters, all that kind of stuff. So essentially explaining all that kind of equipment, why you should spend more money rather than less money, where you can save money. I'll break the bad news. A lot of times it's better to get the slightly nicer equipment. I mean, it'll pay back. It'll be worth it in the long run.
You say that, but I think what it really is Dimitri who goes shopping on AliExpress. And,
I mean, that's also true. I mean, AliExpress is pretty epic for. I mean, yeah, AliExpress, anything security or hardware debugging related. I mean, AliExpress is always a good place to start.
They're one of my favorite ones, as I have. Oh man, I should have brought it out. Is the fake Seger. That's an FT, the quad core. It's a quad. So I mean, like, the FT 2232Hs are like super popular right now. But then there's a quad core one that no one wants to use. So AliExpress one is they took the quad core, put it in this J-Link Seger form factor, and then just it's the exact mold of the case. I mean, it's pretty.
We'll make sure to include that in the description. But that's without giving away too much, that's going to be what we'll talk about in the class, and all kinds of crazy debug equipment like this that people forget. But like you said, it's really nice for OpenOCD and what have you to have a 2232, and it's like before you go Googling on Amazon trying to find the latest 2232 project, check out 2232H or 4232H on AliExpress. There's a lot of options, which admittedly it might take a week or two to get to you, but are going to be pretty cheap.
Yeah, I remember when I got sniped into trying to buy the Yi lights, and then I told my wife, I was like, "Oh man, we could have the lights can be any color, they can be white plus any color." And then there's something like, you buy them on Amazon in the US. I think they're kind of expensive. Like I don't know, they're like at least double than if you buy them and just wait 30 days. And so I tried the pitch that I can make them white. She wasn't gonna go for it though. So and then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna get the 3 from Amazon. I put them in my office, and my office has a slider, so it like one of the AC sliders,
the dimmer.
The dimmer, yeah, thank you. So the problem is my kids go in and they start adjusting it, and which resets the light. So I had the light set to colored, and they come in.
That's pretty good.
And it gets reset. So then I have to basically every morning when I come in have to firmware reset my RGB lights.
I mean, it happens to the best of us, Josh. I mean, I have an entire box behind me that's just lights. So I mean, yeah, just smart lights of different sorts, but that I haven't entirely gotten set up. But I mean, I hit the exact same wall with my wife, explaining to her
yes.
that I can also make them regular colors.
Yes. To be fair, she was right. So I will. It ended up being a failed experiment on my part. But but yeah, such is life. So man, we've got like a decent amount of classes up on the site now. That's the advantage of so another super interesting thing for us in terms of content is we can now find, since we're recording them, so let's say at Black Hat or something like this, at a major conference, major venue, pick your Las Vegas venue or what have you, you really had to play towards and kind of do trainings that would be interesting for everyone. And what we're actually doing now is we're teaching super niche topics. And the fact that we can professionally record them, so we still stream them live. When we stream them live, we're taking questions. So one of our classes, the applied glitching class, we actually did completely live, and it was basically like live stream with Q&A the entire time. But the thing is, that was a class that Thomas and I always wanted to teach forever. And you would never find enough people to sign up for that class. That was like a dead on arrival class in terms of offering it at a conference. And that's actually been like staggered. It's been a decent class where as people like discover our websites, etc. People always ask about that class. Not necessarily. It's obviously on the high end, so people have to get through a bunch of classes before they kind of get to that level. I would say, but having said that, the class is there, and you can do super niche classes. And so just as we kind of wade into the topic of how we're also announcing a CFP today, the biggest thing is kind of when we take new trainers on, we even try to get them to do an introductory, an intermediate, and kind of an advanced class. And the advanced class is not necessarily something where you're obligated to, teach it with us live every single time. We kind of shoot for getting enough interest where it makes sense to record it once, and then afterwards, we can host it on the website, and this is just something that's online and anyone can access it. So that's been pretty epic. Topic wise, because I remember you and I had this conversation forever. How most people. You asked me like, doesn't it get boring to teach the exact same thing every single year? And the answer is, it kind of does. But if it, as the trainer, if people sign up, that's the thing at the conferences too, right? It's by word of mouth. So somebody will take your class, they'll like it, and then they'll say, hey, I really wanted to take Dimitri's class last year. And then you say, well, I changed the class entirely. And they're like, but my friend recommended it to me. Like, why don't you teach the exact one that you did for him? And then you go into a long explanation how you needed to update it or whatever. But I've totally been there, and now it's not a problem. We finally have an easy way to update.
just as an example, I mean, we can, with the online format, with the recordings, I mean, we've gone back where, something's been taken down from the manufacturer website or et cetera. We can just substitute parts, kind of switch them out, re-record them, et cetera. So, I mean, it's pretty epic in that sense.
Yeah, we get that question a lot, with regards to like how we are shipping hardware and stuff like that. And I think we try to be pretty good about making sure it's just the commodity things you can get on major distributors, especially international distributors. I mean, to be I'm probably the worst offender, right? Being the American, it's like, it's obviously you can use this, and then my European colleagues have to keep me honest to make sure that I'm not picking something that is impossible to get outside the United States.
I mean, something that it only has a US plug as an example.
right, yeah. I mean, I don't, there's these funny other plugs. I don't get them. They don't go into my sockets. They're different. They're weird. So I think we try to be good about making sure we've got, things the hardware is easily accessible so students can get them is one thing. And then, we do get questions. So we do get questions about, hey, like, I want to do a training. Like, I like what you guys are doing. I want to do a training. How do I do that? And now I guess so. Now what this is the announcement, right? So like, what's our process as people want to do trainings with us?
Yeah. So I mean, kind of just in terms of the trainers that have been involved with us so far, I mean, are just you and I do hardware consulting work, so we have had a lot of hardware trainings on the website thus far. But we are looking for people to kind of branch out and help us branch out. So it's not just hardware, right? So I mean, it's always the hardware one is just always a pain because there is a requirement to give people the hardware as well versus some of the software trainings. I mean, potentially you just put a binary. So speaking of which, I mean, the way that we stream the classes, we have a chat. The chat gets backed up. So anyone who watches the recordings, they have all the files that were, submitted through the chat, et cetera. So that part's also automated and custom kind of by our engineering team. So having said that, though, the format and what we kind of have to offer, et cetera. I mean, so let's just go through one after the other. So and I would say again, just from the point of view of we get asked questions like how do we start? I mean, essentially, how do I start? I don't have experience. I don't know. I own a webcam and that's it. I don't own any of these professional cameras. What kind of equipment do I get? So essentially what we're going to be doing and what kind of our big offer to anyone who submits and goes through our CFP is going to be is that we will, basically you can, we'll send the equipment for you to use because we want everything to be the same quality. We want everyone to have professional equipment. So whether that's, some combination of capture card, green screen, professional cameras, all that stuff, we'll kind of coach you on how to set it up. The second thing is we, for people who have or haven't visited our website, what we actually do is we have a lot of companies buy subscriptions and packages kind of in bulk. And what that essentially means is that we have a lot of feedback about what companies are interested in. So there isn't a hard requirement. We're at this stage for this CFP. We're even going to take people who are interested in, getting into trainings, et cetera, that don't have a topic necessarily. I mean, that don't have a training, a turnkey training ready to go that they've been teaching at venues prior to this, but they're willing to try it out. Don't mind, aren't shy of being in front of the camera, et cetera, et cetera. So all that stuff we're going to help you out with. So that's kind of that's one thing to keep in mind. I'm trying to think. I mean, what I missed so far.
No, yeah. Let me just see if I can rephrase that because I think there's some cool things in there, right? So it's like. So I remember one of the Las Vegas conferences, let's just say, that people were like going to like professional studios and trying to get things recorded. So like that's not a thing, right? We're basically if you we're going to help you give you the equipment to get going. Like you don't have to go travel to a professional video studio just to get your training recorded, exactly. Right? So we're going to get you out, make sure you have this kind of equipment. And then, I mean, I think especially you brought up the thing about, hey, I want to do training. I'm in the security field. Maybe I've never done it before. And then can I get some guidance on that? And I think, what you were kind of talking about there is, hey, we're going to help you. We'll give you a topic. We'll give you an outline, of what this looks like. And so, especially if it's your first one, but I think we're looking at people who are excited to do online training. I mean, it is a different format. But if you have this kind of excitement and motivation, like I think we're going to help you out. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, our online format, it is, we do differently from a lot of what people classically, I mean, even on our website, we try to always call it a training live stream because we do stream it live. It's structured a little bit differently. So people always have, I mean, it feels like an uphill battle. I mean, whether you're taking or you're designing the online training, it's like, it feels like it doesn't end in terms of, like where does it begin and where does it end? Where do the days end? Where do the assignments end? And it's very daunting. I know from experience. I mean, I'm sure Josh will agree with that as well. It's not structured in the same. I mean, there's advantages from the way that the conferences were structured. I mean, basically, you have an outline on a website. You're going to cover these topics in 4 days, and that's it. That's kind of the promise. And then you go to an online self-paced class. What ends up happening is they cover, the material, the outline might be 10 times bigger, but turns out lots of people want to cover a certain topic in 2 days, and that's how much they want to allot to it. And they don't want to get to the advanced stuff after they've been doing this online training for a couple weeks. So kind of in our experience, that's the advantage that you have with kind of with the standard conference format is that, it's structured in days, et cetera. So basically that's one thing. The other thing is that, the other side of it is, I mean, you can still, we have some people that do bonus content, some people that still release stuff on GitHub. We're not limiting you, but we're kind of guiding people and structuring it, again, based largely on customer feedback. So we're not just, pulling these out of our behind.
Yeah. Right. I mean, and then it's like, the other question I think we get asked a lot is like, so, we're shutting this down in the fall, right? When everything goes back into
Yes.
live, and then
I
think that's one of the, and it's, I think, at least for me, like this as a trainer, this format's like completely epic, right? I mean, like the trying to get to Vegas, trying to do all this stuff, that my family always does a vacation during that time. There's there is, and I don't think the industry is going back to. Clearly, we're not completely doing a 180, right? It's like to use the Navy example, right? It's a large ship, and you put a rudder on it. We're changing course. It's just going slowly. So I think there's always going to be a spot now for online training, online content. Clearly, there's going to, I definitely get the sense that people are itching to go back, but I think there's going to be a portion of this that is staying. So we're both long, I think, on the online training.
On kind of the biggest thing that people bring up. So I completely agree with everything you just said. One of the things that people bring up is like, but how do I, talk to the person who's taking a class? Let's say they're taking a recorded class or something like this. So one of the things that we're actually integrating right now, so I will admit it's not live yet, but it should be live within a week or two, is essentially if you're watching a recording you have a live chat, a direct chat to the trainer as well. You can ask questions directly. So you, the participant, the person taking the class, and you as the trainer, we onboard you on our chat system so that you can kind of answer as well. And then we also have like a ticketing system if there's like an issue. It happens. Somebody forgot to upload the latest version of the file, et cetera. That kind of stuff we handle for people. So in terms of like the social aspect, like, do I have any feedback? You do. You have direct access to the participants. The other thing that we're doing is for the subscribers. The goal is this year. We haven't settled 100% whether it's going to be like a Discord or something else. But basically, the plan is to do some like social events where we set a certain time or pick a certain day, and then people can just come and socialize like on a mass kind of voice chat kind of thing, and give us feedback, etc. But I mean yeah, I mean I'm sure you have lots of comments. I mean your chats are always pretty active. I would say the most active.
I'm just thinking though, I did do one of these virtual kind of hangouts that was on I think it was like gather.town.
Right, exactly.
And it was surprisingly fun. It's like you're a little 8-bit guy,
but
right? You walk around.
Gather is one of the things that we might do this year, because
that one was like,
after you showed that to me, I was pretty sold that that's a pretty epic one. I mean, so we're gonna do fun stuff like that. I mean, the other thing is we're probably I mean, so for trainers, I mean, the goal of like this format, this podcast is gonna be, we're gonna interview the trainers as well. So for people subscribe to our YouTube channel / if we'll probably release the audio at some point as well. So whichever way you consume this podcast, you can go ahead and I mean, you'll get a chance to hear people explain, from the horse's mouth what their content is about, and we'll also give you a sneak peek into some of the things that we're looking. So comments, etc., are always nice for people who want to request topics. But like I said, goal is to kind of announce that this is a thing. I mean, I don't think it's going back either. I mean, I can say it here on camera. I'm not going back. I mean, I'm not traveling again. It's not worth it. I mean, I have better equipment. I can teach more topics. The stuff that we can do is we still do private classes on occasion, and I mean that's another advantage that you have with working with us. We do get private training inquiries for our guest trainers, which we kind of help them out with. So essentially, companies that want a specific topic, so we kind of help set that up, do the class live remotely via us. That is a thing that we do. So having said all that, I mean, just the support that kind of goes behind it is a huge thing why we're not going back. I mean, like, if something as silly as, switching the HDMI cable, I mean, done. We have a person to do all that stuff for you, switching what you're looking at. I mean, even in an in-person class, you would occasionally have to switch between, iPad and this. And I mean, it's completely different now where, I mean, I don't want to get into all the technical details, but we have ways to essentially automate all of that for you. And then for everyone during the stream, there's actually a professional video editor sitting there, switching the scenes, making sure you didn't forget to unmute your mic, making sure your lighting's correct, etc. So, I mean, all that stuff is kind of packaged, and that's kind of the big motivator for doing it with us. And kind of, since it's all recorded, since it's all at such a high level, I mean, we've had private clients ask for trainings, and now we can really go and mix and match. And when we mix and match, I mean, it doesn't mean that now, you have to pre-record, record something new. I mean, we can actually, take parts of classes that you've done in the past and put something new together for a specific client, which has been epic as well. I mean, that's something that wasn't possible in the past either. And I mean, for us as hardware guys, I mean, as you like to point out, I mean, it's basically impossible to travel with all the equipment we'd like to totally use in a class. And then, I mean, now it's epic. I mean, now we just found all the things that you can HDMI, and now they can all get included in the stream.
Yes, I did try to search. I will admit I have searched just anything that will do an HDMI output. The best one I could come up with is I have a mini Commodore 64 that will then display retro games. So then I was pretty happy about that. All right, so and we already, I mean, the show, we already have sponsors. So this one is brought to you by Josh's Neighbor Wi-Fi. Why pay for a VPN when you can use Josh's Neighbor's Wi-Fi? You don't have to pay on those costly VPNs when you get one for free. But seriously, don't use his Wi-Fi because he's on DSL and I'm the only one using it. So, okay. So I think we'll kind of, I mean, we've been going for half an hour here, Dimitri. This one flew by. So where do we go? Yeah, where do we go to check out if I want to take a training or I want to submit a CFP? What's our
Right.
what's our
I
site
mean, so
now?
our website's advancedsecurity.training. So if you want to take a class, check them out. We started uploading the schedule. I mean, with kind of this video, this announcement, the intro to lab class will be up as well. So keep that in mind. And we're we're going to be uploading more outlines kind of on a regular basis in weeks to come. So check out the website. We'll kind of be making announcements on all the social media. Usually we do them on LinkedIn. If you sign up for any of our mailing lists, you'll get them as well. And we obviously Twitter, because that's like a InfoSec thing. So then if you want to submit the CFP, it's going to be Advanced Security. I mean, we'll include the links in the description. It's going to be advancedsecurity.training / I think it's going to be either CFP or apply as. I got to check the URL. But if it isn't, I mean, we'll make it CFP. I'll do the 301 redirect to the CFP. So if you want to submit, basically, let's talk about the format just kind of as a kind of what we want from you. I mean, so the thing is, we want to see, and it's not because we're, Josh and I are, neither of us nor any of our trainers have any sort of background in, film, movie, or anything like this. I mean, we're doing it, we bought, cameras, lights, all this kind of stuff, microphones out of necessity, not out of, not because that was the thing that we were looking to spend, significant amounts of our budget on. So don't be afraid, and we don't have like a requirement that it has to be like a perfect recording. So for this, webcam is absolutely fine. So use your webcam, record it, but we want to know a little bit about you, about your background, and don't be afraid if you've never done classes before. It's really, it's kind of, to see how nicely would you be able to structure this. We're leaving it open end. I mean, if you want to do like a slide with you talking about yourself, that's fine. And then also the topics that you think you'd be interested in. So just a rundown of topics that we're looking for. So hardware wise, everything FPGA related we're interested in, just because that's been a big one. And I mean, I'm sure we'll have maybe next week or at some point we'll talk more about FPGAs and how they're making inroads, whether it's into embedded or security or data centers, et cetera. I mean, it's you see more and more of them. So FPGAs, embedded security, anything firmware related, whether it's reverse engineering firmware with Ghidra or IDA, or anything, I'm trying to think, like other embedded topics. I mean, so Josh does some of the IoT classes, but I mean, that's the entire point of our website. I mean, so essentially we have companies coming to us to spend their training budgets. I mean, just because we have one IoT class doesn't mean, most likely the person that took Josh's IoT class, as soon as we put up another IoT class, will take your class as well. So that's kind of, that's the advantage of working with us. So everything hardware IoT related as well. Automotive is actually a big one. I mean, so kind of without naming any names, we have some pretty big automotive companies already working with us that are on our website. So we actually don't have currently an automotive training. So we'd be interested in anything reverse engineering related. I'm trying to think. I think that's most of the. Oh, and then for hardware, if somebody wants to do, I mean, a topic that's heavily in demand. So we do some fault injection right now, but more fault injection topics, and also SPA, DPA, anything like that. We're probably also going to be teaching. I mean, this year we're going to do some intro topics. We're going to be updating the intro to hardware. We're going to be doing just some intro to basic circuits, just because. I mean, I've taught that like peer-to-peer to some of my friends that I show them, if you put a resistor and a buffer, turns out, or like a tri-state, I mean, is the classic one. Let me show you how to build a voltage shifter right here on this breadboard. And then we can do any voltage on either side. So stuff like that, we're definitely going to do, but that's kind of the hardware side. So then the other security topics are open. And We do have, so for example, Sebastian's teaching, just to give you some examples of the other external trainers. So Sebastian Dudek's teaching the RF classes on our website right now. He's also going to be doing some new classes this year. And then Patrick's teaching basically different languages. So right now we have WebAssembly and Rust, and then he goes into how to fuzz them, the security related to them. But it's really open. And so we're looking for any security topics. I mean, the reason we don't have hardware in the advanced security name is our goal is not just to do hardware. It's just that, we have a background in hardware, so it's easy to push hardware just because we can do that content ourselves. But having said that, we're open to people that are willing to do those topics. Maybe last thing that I'll say, kind of as a heads up. I mean, I would say most of our streams we do sometimes do classes in Europe and in the U.S. There is a higher demand for U.S. So most of our streams are U.S. Eastern time zone, and they usually start at 10 a.m. So people in Pacific time, I mean, yes, they have to join at 7 a.m. But deal with it. Turns out everyone else can join, and including the Europeans. So that's like our optimized time where most of our customers can join. But just keep that in mind. I mean, if you're somewhere in Asia, I'm not going to hold it against you if you want to stay up during the night and teach some classes with us. But there is a requirement that kind of on the days when we do the class, you have to be present live, even though you might pre-record parts of your classes. You're there live to answer questions, to do Q&A, to record you answering the Q&A as part of the stream, etc. So just keep that in mind. But what we're looking for is CFP, like I said, kind of a training outline or a PDF. I mean, this can be broad. Very short bullet points if you're unsure about a topic, and also just a short video of you explaining the kinds of stuff that you do are going to be the main things. And then, the other stuff's boring, like billing stuff, just so that we have it, so that we don't have to track you down for it. And another thing, which is super annoying as a person who's done this more than once, is we ask for you to upload a picture of you, because it's the most annoying thing that when you run a website for people registering, that where you're like, guys, like I asked, we have to put a question mark instead of your face, and like it's been weeks. Please send me a picture, a nice profile picture. So anyway, we ask that ahead of time. But other than that, it's pretty. So we should get back to you pretty quick. But like I said, I mean, we're open to kind of all topics going forward.
I get the monopoly on submarine trainings though. So that one's not negotiable. The Josh is doing all the submarine trainings. So
what if the trainer outranks you?
We'll see. We'll have to go into a Navy fight. Okay, that sounds so. I mean, so yeah. We'll have that link in there in the description. That sounds pretty straightforward. So I think we're going to wrap this. We're going to call this one in the bag. So we're hoping to kind of do this. We don't know the periodicity yet. So we'll just say we'll try to do this somewhat regularly. Kind of get it going. It's the first time giving this a shot, and hope to see you in class.
Perfect. Let's leave it there. So see you guys. We'll see you in our classes. We'll see you online teaching to all of our trainees.
All right. Bye.
Bye.